There is a wooden spoon in this kitchen that is older than my oldest child. That spoon has never melted. It has never scratched a pan. It has never once been thrown away. Look at the shine along the handle. That is not varnish. That is 40 years of the same thumb resting in the same place, and my mother's thumb before mine because the spoon was hers first. I have cooked in one kitchen my whole married life. One room, one range, one window over the sink, 40 years. And in all that time I have thrown out exactly one pot. That was my own fault, and I will tell you about it before we are done. Today I am going to walk through your kitchen and pick up 14 things, and on every one of them I am going to tell you plainly. Keep it or get it out of your house. 6 of the 14 I am going to tell you to keep. That is more than you were expecting, and it is exactly why you ought to listen to me about the other 8. Now you should know who is talking to you. My name is Linda Byler. I am Amish in the Elkhart and LaGrange settlement in northern Indiana, and I have been in this county my whole life. You are not going to see my face. That is not a gimmick, and it is not shyness. Our church holds to the second commandment about graven images, so we are not photographed, and I am not going to be the one who starts. So it will be my voice, and it will be my kitchen, and that is the whole of it. Here is why I started doing this at all. I sell at market on a Tuesday, have done for years, and over the last while, the English women who come to my table have stopped asking me about the pies. They ask me about the pan. They tell me the pan is poisoning their family. They tell me there is plastic in the water and plastic in the salt and plastic in the babies, and that they cannot get a straight answer out of anybody about any of it. And I have watched women stand at my table and get tearful about their own kitchen. Their own kitchen, the one room in the house that was supposed to be the safe one. Somebody has frightened you very badly, and I do not think it was done kindly. So here is what I can and cannot do for you. I cannot give you a study. I went to school through the 8th grade in one room, and that is the whole of my education, and I am not ashamed of it. I am not a doctor, and I have never pretended to be. I do not know what the arguing is about, and I could not follow it if I tried. What I have is 40 years in the same room, and 2 women before me who ran it the same way, and a fairly good memory of what lasted and what did not. And I have one thing more, and I will say it once and then leave it alone. My people do not bring a new thing into the house the week it comes out. We never have. When something new appears, our church waits. We watch what it does to the family that got it first. We watch it for a year or 10 years or a lifetime, and then it is decided whether the thing may come in, and a good deal of the time the answer is no. I am not telling you that to say we are better. I am telling you because it means this kitchen is a long look at what happens to a household that simply never let these things in. It is not science, but it is not nothing. So, it is the 2nd week of August. The tomatoes are coming in faster than anybody can eat them, and there are 7 bushels on the porch waiting on me, and this kitchen is already hot by 10 in the morning. You come in from the garden, and you open that drawer beside your stove. The deep one, the one that never quite closes. Let us see what is in there. The first thing in that drawer is a black spatula. Nylon, they call it. There is one in nearly every drawer in this country, and usually there are 4. Take it out and turn it over. Look along the edge, right at the part that meets a hot pan. You see how that is not a straight line anymore? You see the little wave in it? And that dull place where it went soft and then set again? That spoon gives up a small amount of itself every time it is pressed into the bottom of a hot pot. Not a lot. A little. Every time. So here's my question for you. Where do you suppose the melted part went? It did not float off out the window. You had it with your supper. Get it out. And I will say this one is easy because a wooden spoon costs $1 and you will never buy another. In this kitchen we use wood and we use steel, and that is the entire list. Nothing in that drawer has ever gone soft, and nothing in it has ever needed replacing. Still in the drawer. Set 2 wooden spoons side by side if you have both kinds. One of them came from a store. See how it shines? Somebody sealed that. The other one is plain, and where it is worn thin, what is underneath is only more wood. Now, there is a good deal said about the sealed ones, and I am going to be straight with you. Keep it. I am not going to stand here and tell you the shiny one will hurt you. I do not know that, and I will not say it. And if I said it, you would be right to stop trusting the rest of this. What I will tell you is this, and it is a smaller thing. When the shine comes off the store spoon, it looks ruined, and you will throw it out. When the shine comes off the plain one, it just looks used, and you will keep it another 30 years. So keep the one you have, but the next one you buy the plain one, and buy it once. Close the drawer. Open the cabinet by your sink, the low one. There they are. Black plastic trays, the kind supper came home in. Stacked 11 deep, lids from a different set entirely, and every one of them saved because throwing it out felt wasteful. Get it out, all of them today, and this is the one I will not be gentle about. Now I understand that instinct better than most people alive. I was raised by a woman who saved string, and her mother before her, and it was not a quirk, it was how you got through a winter. But that tray was built to be used once, and then to be finished with. It was never made to be washed 40 times, or filled with hot soup, or set in a hot machine. Saving that is thrift pointed the wrong direction. Your grandmother was not saving things that were designed to fail. She was saving things that were designed to last, and there is all the difference in the world between the two. Food comes home in a basket in this house, and it goes down to the cellar in glass, which brings us to the cabinet above it. Open that one too, plastic bowls. Some of them were clear once. Look for the one with a shadow in the bottom that no amount of scrubbing has ever moved, and the rim gone wavy where it came out of the dishwasher too hot. Keep them, I mean it. Keep them for cold, and keep them for dry. Crackers, apples, the children's cereal, the leftover salad. There is nothing wrong with a plastic bowl doing the work a plastic bowl was built for, and a woman with 4 children does not need me telling her to carry a stack of glass out to a picnic. Here is the only rule. Nothing hot, ever. Not hot soup poured straight in, not a plate reheated, not the top rack of a hot machine. Because you have felt what heat does to one, you have carried a bowl to the table and felt the sides give under your fingers. Soft means it is letting go of something. Cold and dry, keep it. Hot glass. That is the whole rule, and it costs you nothing. Every container in my cellar is glass, and most of them are older than I am. Come down those steps in September, and it is shelf after shelf, 400 jars in a good year, and I still put peaches up in the jars my mother used. The rings rust, and I replace the rings. The glass does not change. Now come to the stove, because this is the important one, and I am going to take my time with it. Put your hand on the pan that lives there, the one you use every morning for eggs. Take it to the window and tilt it toward the light. Just tilt it. There. Do you see all that? All those fine lines running every direction and that one long scrape near the handle where something metal got at it? That surface was a promise. The promise was that nothing would stick, and it kept that promise beautifully for about 11 months. Now here's the part nobody says out loud. When a coating wears off, it has to go somewhere. Coatings do not vanish. That surface used to be on the pan, and now it is not on the pan, and eggs have been cooked on it every morning for 2 years. Get it out. And I want to be very careful here because this is the one thing the women at market are most frightened of, and I am not going to trade on that fright. I do not know what it does inside a person. The doctors are still arguing. I am not in that argument, and I would not know how to join it. If you have been eating off that pan for 10 years, I am not telling you that you have done harm to your children, and anybody who tells you that from a screen is selling you something. I am telling you something much smaller and much more certain. You can see it wearing away. And a thing that wears away goes somewhere. And then there is the other half of it, which nobody talks about at all. In 2 years, you buy the pan again. And 2 years after that, you buy it again. That is the part that would have got you put out of my grandmother's kitchen faster than anything to do with your health. A thing that must be bought over and over was not made for a people like mine. It was made for somebody's business, and we can generally tell the difference. The skillet in this kitchen is black and it is heavy, and the inside of it is smooth as a river stone. It was my grandmother's, and it will be my daughter's. She has already asked for it, which I take as a very good sign. It has fried mush on a Sunday morning with 150 people coming to this house. It has no coating to lose. What it has instead is what 50 years of use put on it, and that layer gets better every single time it is cooked in, not worse. I have never owned a pan that peels, neither did my mother, neither did hers. Turn around, behind you on the counter, that white cutting board with the black scars all over it. Every one of those marks is a place where the knife took a little of the board with it. The knife did not make that plastic disappear. It cut it loose and put it somewhere. And I am going to tell you to keep it, because I am told the plastic ones go through a dishwasher and come out cleaner than wood does, particularly where raw meat is concerned. That may well be true. I have no way to test it, and I am not going to pretend otherwise, and I am not going to have a woman get her family sick because an Amish lady on a screen told her wood was more natural. So keep one for meat, and use it for meat, and let the machine do what the machine is good at. For everything else, get yourself a wood one. The block in this kitchen is maple, and my husband's brother made it, and it has been on this counter longer than 3 of my children have been alive. 40 years of knife marks. Every few months it gets scrubbed and gets a rub of oil, and when it gets too rough it gets sanded and comes back new. It has never once been thrown away, and it has never once needed to be. Pull open your bottom drawer. The foil is in there. Mine is too. I want you to hear that plainly, because I could stand here and tell you an Amish kitchen has never had a roll of foil in it, and a good many of you would believe me. Do not believe everything you hear about us. It has. It does. There is a roll in that drawer right now. Keep it. One rule. Foil does not touch anything with tomato in it. Ever. Try it yourself sometime. Lay foil over a dish of stewed tomatoes and leave it on the counter overnight. In the morning, lift it off and look at the underside. It has gone dull and gray and pitted right where it lay against the food. That is not a stain. Some of that foil is not there anymore. Acid eats metal. You can taste it when it has. So cover your roast with it, line your sheet with it, keep the roll. Just not tomatoes and not lemon and not vinegar. Tomatoes go into an enamel roaster in this kitchen with its own lid. That roaster came from my wedding 40 years ago this fall. Now open the flatware drawer, take out a spoon and look at the very tip, the part that goes in your mouth. Some of you are going to see a line there, a place where the color changes, and underneath it something duller and yellower coming through. That is plating, a thin layer of one metal laid over a cheaper one, and it is wearing off. It wears off into the mouth of whoever is eating with it. Get it out. But slowly and only as you can afford it, and I want to be plain about that because I do not think a woman should have to buy a whole drawer of forks this month on my account. Here is what I could not tell you. What the metal underneath is, neither can you, and that is rather my point. There is no way to find out. Mine came from my wedding, all of it, plain and heavy and the same metal the whole way through. It has outlasted 2 stoves. It has no layer to lose because it was never made of layers. Back to the counter. There is one more thing sitting on it. The air fryer. Pull the basket out and look into the corners, right where the food sits. You see how the coating is thinner there? Almost silver coming through in that one spot? Everything I said about the pan is true about that basket, except for one thing that makes it worse. A pan sits on a flame, and the room stays a room. That heats a small coated box until it smokes, and it does it on the counter in the middle of the house with the windows shut. And whatever comes off it, you are breathing. So is everybody else in the room. So is the baby asleep down the hall. Get it out. And now I am going to admit something because I have an unfair advantage on this one, and I would rather tell you than have you find out. There is no electricity in these walls. There never has been. So when the air fryer came along, there was no argument to have in this house, and I did not have to be strong about it. And I am not going to take credit for a thing I was never tempted by. I will tell you only what I saw. A woman I know married out and got one, and she smelled something for a month and could never put her finger on what the smell was. She got rid of it in the end. That is one woman and one knows, and I know exactly how little that is worth. But you asked me what I would do, and I have told you. When something wants to be crisp in this kitchen, the oven gets hot and a heavy pan does it. 20 minutes instead of 12. I have 20 minutes. Now, coffee. That machine takes a little plastic cup and forces boiling water straight through it, and that becomes the very first thing you put in your body all day. Not the second, the first. Get it out. There is a percolator on this range. It is metal and glass, and there is nothing inside it but coffee and water. It was my mother's. It has been making coffee on one range or another since I was a girl sitting under the table, and it has made every cup in this house since the day I married. Now come back over here because we are at the one where I take your side. Parchment paper. Keep it. I do not use it, but I know plenty of good bakers who do, plain and English both, and I am not going to stand here and tell you a woman who lines her cake pans is doing something dreadful to her family. That would not be true, and you would know it was not true, and if I said it, you would be entitled to throw out everything else I have told you today. Here is only what happens in this kitchen instead, and I offer it as a thing you can have, not as a thing you must do. Take the pan, a little lard on your fingers, and go all the way around the inside, up the sides, into the corners. Then a spoon of flour in, and turn the pan and knock it until the flour has gone everywhere the lard is. Tip the extra out the back door. Nothing has ever stuck to a pan done that way. Not once in 40 years, and that is a great many cakes when you consider that church comes to this house. That paper was doing one job for you, and the job costs nothing. Now come stand by the range because we have arrived at the reason I made this one at all. A bag of popcorn made to go in a microwave. The inside of that bag is coated so the kernels will not weld themselves to it. Then you heat the coating until it smokes, and you pull the bag open, and the first thing you do is put your face in the steam and breathe in. Get it out. And I am not going to take a thing away from your Saturday night without handing you back something better, so here is the whole method, and you will see how little there is to it. A heavy pot, not a thin one, and a lid. 3 good spoons of lard in the bottom. Oil will do if that is what you have. Bring the flame up to medium, not high. There is no hurry in this. Now put in 3 kernels, just 3. And wait. This is the part everybody skips, and it is the only part that matters. Those 3 kernels are how the pot tells you it is ready. Nothing else will tell you. When the first one goes, you are close. When the second one goes, you are there. Now the rest go in. 1/3 of a cup, no more because they need room to move. Lid on, but not tight. Leave it a crack, or the steam has nowhere to go and you will have soft popcorn and you will blame the corn. And now you shake it. Not hard, just sliding it back and forth across the flame so nothing on the bottom sits still long enough to burn. And you listen. That sound is the sound of this kitchen on a Saturday night for 40 years, with the lamps going and 4 children under that table, and my mother's kitchen on a Saturday night before that. It slows down. When there are 2 or 3 seconds between pops, Off it comes, and it comes off before you think it should. Butter goes on while the pot is still hot enough to melt it, and salt goes on while the butter is still wet enough to hold it. That order matters. Salt first, and it all falls to the bottom. Then look in the pot. 6 cents of corn, no bag, no coating, no machine, nothing to throw away and nothing to buy again. 2 more and then I am finished with you. Look at your stove while it is burning. Mine burns gas, propane out of the tank behind the house. Yours very likely burns something similar. Keep it. I have heard women told they must tear out their range, and I want you to hear this from somebody who cooks on a flame every day of her life. The flame in your kitchen is the same flame in mine. I am not cooking on something purer than you are. Here is what is different, and it is the whole difference. Above this range there is a flue that goes up and out, and to the left of it that window is open, and it is open every single time this range is lit, in August and in January. We were building kitchens before there was anything to run in the walls, and a kitchen built that way had to give the smoke somewhere to go or it filled the house by supper. So the flue and the open window are not a clever health idea somebody had. They are just what was left over from when there was no other way. You do not need a different stove, you need the air in the room to be going somewhere. That is a window, and it is free. Last cabinet, the high one where the good glasses live. Find one with a gold rim and turn it so the light catches. You see that? The gold is gone in one place, gone in a curve about 2 inches long. That is the exact shape of a mouth. That gold was paint. It was painted onto the one part of the glass that touches your lip, and the reason it is missing is that lips took it. Where do you think it went? Get it out. Or if it was your mother's, keep it in the cabinet where it is and do not drink from it, and there is no shame in that at all. And while we are up here, one more thing that belongs with it. That bottle of water you left in the car. Now, I do not drive, so I am not going to stand here and tell you about your car. But the English fellow who hauls us to market keeps a case of water on the floor of that van, and in August it sits in the sun in the Shipshewana lot from 6 in the morning until 2. Nobody in my family drinks out of one of those, not because I know what happens to it, because I have smelled one. If it has changed enough to smell different, then it has changed. Plain glass in this cupboard. Every one of them has been on that shelf since the week I was married, and a pitcher of cold well water is what goes into them. So, 14 things. 6 of them you can keep, and I hope you noticed that I told you so before I told you anything else, because I did not want you standing there waiting for me to take one more thing away from you, and 8 of them I would carry out of this house myself. Now I told you at the start about the pot I threw away, so here it is. The summer my youngest started school. I had apple butter on the range, and I went out to hang the wash, and I got to talking with my sister over the fence about her boy, and I stood out there an hour and a half. That was a good pot, and I ruined it entirely, and it was nobody's fault but mine. 40 years, and that is the whole list. I am not asking you to live the way we live. Most of you would not want it, and I would not blame you for a minute. But if you take away one single thing from all of this, take away the pan. Get one heavy skillet with no coating on it to lose and learn it, and it will outlive you and go to somebody who loves you. That is really the only thing I am telling you today. Buy the thing that gets handed down. And I want to say one last word to the woman who came to my table in June and could not stop crying about her kitchen, because I have thought about her since. You have not poisoned your family. You are a woman who has been shouted at from every direction by people with something to sell, and you have been trying to get it right, and trying to get it right is not the same as having got it wrong. Tell me what is in your kitchen that you have wondered about, and I will go through mine and see what I can tell you. It comes to me on paper on a Friday, and I read everyone at this table. Now go and make the popcorn. It is easier than you think.